all. Hi you guys, Rachel here, the Modern Shaman. Thanks for being with me for another YouTube Q&A video this week. Like I said last week, I am glad to be back with you guys. It's been a beautiful time of kind of going inward for the past month for me through some physical illness that has really given me a lot of time to have my essence just centered with Source. It's such a time of communion when it's just you in your head, alone with God. There's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful sense of available connection there. That oftentimes when life is busy or demands a lot of us, we don't get just big sections of time like that. And then when we go through something, either a very traumatic experience, maybe something to do with losing a loved one or losing a job, or maybe something like my experience with a sudden health crisis where you can't move and you can't get out of bed and you have to rely on others to help you and kind of move into a space that is very quiet inside. So that's really been a blessing to me. I've been soaking it up. But I love my time with you all also. I'm definitely a well-rounded individual when it comes to my introversion and my extroversion. So this is my little bit of connecting time. I want to say, if you guys have questions, send them into my website, themodernshaman.net. Also, if you haven't already, checked out my offerings on my website. I do one-on-one sessions full-time. That's what I do with my daily work. This is just kind of a free giving to those of you guys that are wanting to deepen your relationship with Source and your journey of expressing that here within this lifetime. But there's a lot of available resources on my website that if you really want to strengthen your psychic development, strengthen your shamanic awareness and technique, there are classes in my masterclass available there, workshops available there, as well as, like I said, healing sessions, one-on-one psychic sessions or traditional seer sessions, as well as ceremony sessions for soul retrievals and more deep healing work. So I hope you guys check that out if that resonates with you, if you really feel drawn to it. I am a firm believer that Spirit will draw you in intuitively to where you need to be. So my encouragement is just to pay attention to that. If it's knocking, I would love to be of service. Okay, here's the question for this week. It says, Rachel, thank you so much for your videos. May I ask what to do with a Facebook friend that I'd like to not have anything to do with anymore, since she has acted so unfriendly towards me for so long? Should I unfriend her, or is that childish? My reactions to her are quite strong, but I would like peace and don't want to move from ego. I would love your guidance. Okay, you know what I love about this is that you asked a question that comes up for a lot of people that they don't ask. Sometimes our simple, straightforward questions are the best because they're like what's on the precipice of everybody's mind at some point, and somebody has the confidence to ask that question. So I love that you asked it. I have a lot of videos on this channel and in the archive about boundaries, about psychic boundaries, about boundaries from energy vampires, from those, about even boundaries from those closest to us and family and loved ones. And it seems to come up a lot, especially if you're clairsentient or empathic and a highly sensitive person. This is something that may not come as natural to you, and it has to be developed like a regular muscle that we exercise. So the first thing that is interesting when it comes to social media in particular, this is true for really all computer usage or phone usage. So it could be those in your contact list or those on your email list, or it can be those in your social media outlets that you connect with. But essentially, those The technology within the phone and within the computer is based on quartz crystal. Quartz is an amplifier of information. So it magnifies. Think of literally like having a megaphone and projecting out whatever it is you're saying. This is what is done on the vibrational sense through the technology of our phones and our computers because they're based in quartz. So when this happens, just from the ancient technology of that crystal, you are receiving amplified energy. So it's very potent. And this is why oftentimes social media gets people very deeply and they don't know why. They're like, why am I so affected by what someone said about me, or whether they put a, like by my picture or not? Why am I so affected? There is a vibrational amplification that is literally scientific that happens through quartz crystals. This is how the information is transferred. And so it's stronger than typical written communication that has a sense of being grounded. It is not grounded, and it moves through the waves, essentially the cloud, but it moves through energy amplification and transfer of energy. So you're receiving energy from it, not just the language. Language itself has energy, but you're also receiving the energetic component that is based in quartz amplification and the utilization and potentials in crystals. So be conscious of that and give yourself a break, right? Or cut yourself some slack of not feeling so hard on yourself when you are impacted so strongly by those mediums, because they, especially if you're sensitive to energy, they have a very potent expression to them. So that being said, I would say, heck yes, set a boundary. And I don't think it's childish. I think actually it's the opposite. My advice would be that it's very wise. Remember, and I'm not saying this in a morbid way, but your choices for what is good for you and what is not good for you have to be honoring your sovereign self. Because when you die, it's going to be your consciousness, your soul, and God, or source, right? It's not what everybody else told you. I mean, that stuff just ain't even there. It's you and the reasons why you made the choices that you made, the reason why you are who you are. So remembering that when it comes to your own choices is very important. Like, just break it down to the basics. You should never feel guilty or childish about making a decision that supports who you are as a sovereign being, that feels good and of goodness and righteousness and upholding a sense of peace in your life, okay? And if you are troubled, or if you have, like you said, very strong reactions to seeing someone on Facebook, it's in your best interest to simply cut off that sense of interaction. That is a wise, and I would say discerning choice for what feels like it feeds you and what does not. We have the same similar choice when we pick a TV show or we pick a movie. We essentially are picking a media outlet. Now, this is a little different because this is electronic energy and not often based in quartz crystal, so it has less of an energetic impact of it on us, but it still does in terms of our mental mind because the brain waves are syncing. But it's a similar choice that we don't have a problem making, right? Because not a lot of people see us making that, or we don't feel like we're hurting the actor's feelings if we don't pick their movie. When it's in a social media setting, sometimes we are more concerned about the fact that they're going to know that I unfriended them or blocked them, or they're going to have feeling, and they may. But that is on their energy. That's in their domain to deal with. And how they handle rejection or how they handle losing a friendship or gaining a friendship will be the lessons that they learn in life. That is in their domain. That's in their free will of how they chose to deal with it. but the decision for what holds your sense of peace, or what makes you happy, or what sustains the lifestyle that you would like to live, those are sovereign choices that are made with a sense of wisdom and discernment. So I block people all the time. I unfriend people all the time, all the time. And I'm a very loving person, a very caring person, but I'm very conscientious about what I like to see and what I don't like to see. And I don't feel bad about that. Those are very personal choices. It's just like what I like to eat and what I don't like to eat. I don't mean any offense to a chef that cooks meat, but I don't eat meat. So it's a personal choice. The same is true for what you put in front of you that you want amplified into your life. So I would ask yourself that simple question. Whatever this person is sharing, or whatever you're feeling in reaction to someone's posts or someone's life, do I want this amplified in my life? Yes or no? If it's a no, you can unfriend or block, and be at peace with your sense of decision for yourself. I think there are subtler ways on social media. I'm not a techie guru. My kids are more so than I, but I think there are more subtler ways to unfollow or unsee or ghost them. I don't know how it works. If you're concerned about that and you want to do something more subtle. But I'm not a subtle person. I would just say, if you don't want to amplify it in your life, you don't have to have it amplified in your life. And life moves on. Life flows. It continues to keep moving. Another thing I would say with this question when I look at it is, we can't forget that boundaries are not just for others, they're also for ourselves and our own self-discipline. So especially with social media, it's very easy to let in energies into our field that are being amplified in our life without quite realizing the impact they're having. And an example of that I see more and more and more with social media is that sexual component, where it's almost like soft porn. A lot of people posting pictures that are very overtly sexual, or in G-strings, or making out with somebody, just very overtly sexual. Now, there is a time and a place for that, and I'm all about it, but there's also a sense of realizing that those energies, in terms of your own boundaries of self-discipline, those are bringing that into your experience of people that you don't necessarily know in that way, but essentially you are giving your energy, or you are feeding the amplification on the other side of what you look at, what you pay attention to. And it's not even that you have to like it or comment on it. Even when you look at people's stories or reels, it shows who's looking at it. So they're essentially, again, you're feeding, even in a very numerical data sense, like they could probably energetically line up how much energy is amplified through the numbers of how many people have seen the photo. I've never seen that data. That would be interesting. But you are essentially sending your energy as a sense of connection point to what it is that you are looking at. So be conscientious about that, whether it's, like I said, that slippery slope with the soft porn, or whether it is even just drama, negativity. When you get kind of sucked into that and you start reading all these comments that are like, where people are kind of biting their heads off, you essentially, again, are contributing to the energetic amplification of the drama. So be conscientious about your own sense of self-discipline with your boundaries when it comes to social media. You can do that very easily by unfriending and blocking certain individuals that feel like, man, that's a slippery slope for me, or I just noticed that there's always drama in that individual's feed or when it comes up, and I'm kind of sucked into it. And then an hour later, what did I do? I fed literally an hour's worth of energy into just reading about that. and not even commenting, but just feeding my energy into it. My mental focus, my heart focus got kind of pulled into it. So like I said, there's a lot of power with social media energetically to be conscientious about. So I hope that was helpful for you guys. My heart is just for you in your own sense of decisions. Like really, when I read this question, I think I want to empower you to make choices that feel like they are in resonance with your soul. What makes you happy, what uplifts you, what makes you feel like you're in connection with source and awe and beauty and love. And anything that's not, you don't have to choose that for yourself if it doesn't feel like it supports the life that you want to live. And I hope you feel empowered to make that choice, because it's your life, mama. Do it. All right, we'll be back here next week with another question. Blessings to you all.